Wait, I'm getting Jenny Lee World. Is Jenny Lee World back somehow? What's going on? Is my chat just freaking out? Oh wait, yeah, my chat is freaking out. Whoa, that's weird. It's like bounced back up way up to like hours ago. Worst problem I ever had was traveling with the custom agents in England who were treating Americans. You know what? We had a similar experience. All right, don't kill the flowers. Okay. Yeah, the customs people in when we went into the UK were the strictest we've ever had to deal with. Sorry, my cable is tugging on my phone. I'll get you back. All right. I put my bag on backwards. Yeah, the customs people in London were. Yeah, it was a thing. It wasn't horrible, but it was like more strict than even like going into like Israel and stuff, which was kind of surprising. Border Force are not fit purpose for thing. They do that to everybody with a passport and let them legal. Well, I don't know if we're going to get into that. Yeah, but we had a similar experience. The customs agents, when we go back to America sometimes, they're weird to us too. Years ago, we traveled for like a year and a half and went to like, I don't remember how many, 20 countries or something, like over a year and a half time period. And like some of it was in the Middle East, some of it was in Asia. And when we went back to America, the dude was a little bit like, I don't know, it was weird. It was a weird the way they treated us. And we're Americans. Only other country I won't go back to Mexico. Had to run in with a cartel there. Yeah, that would be kind of sketch. Yeah, that's the kind of cool thing about Asia is like generally people kind of just mind their own business. So you don't really deal with like having to run into things like that, like gang violence and stuff. Like every country is a little different. But like even in like Japan, like the Yakuza is like a thing. Everybody like, oh, the Yakuza, you gotta worry about the Yakuza. Not really. Like if you leave them alone, they leave you alone. And they don't want to like start trouble with some tourist or something. Like it's not worth having the tourists go to the police and then them having to deal with the police and their boss having to deal with that and like the hierarchy getting angry at them and stuff. It's just not worth it. Like the crime that they're involved in is more like racketeering and like money laundering and like things like that. And the bosses for the Yakuza just don't want to deal with like little piddly street crime shit. That's a majority of the reason why there's no street crime in Japan, or very little. They're leery of you because you were too well traveled for it. Be excited to see Yakuza. Yeah, I mean, I did a hitchhiking trip, and I definitely met some people that were in the club. They were cool. I mean, they picked me up. I rode with them and stuff. Like, they were fine people. Like, to me anyways. But, I mean, you know, if they're shaking down people for whatever, that's not good. But to me, they were fine. That's the only experience I can speak from is my own. All right, I don't have a plan at all right now. What should we do? Let me give you the Japan view. I still we got a pretty good crowd here, y'all. Thanks for everybody sticking around. If anybody has any like questions about, like, if you're new to me or new to me and my wife, like our situation, you have any questions about us or Japan or anything, I'm open to. You can AMA. Friend who lost a finger in a biking accident and he's terrified of trying to go to an. If your friend is not Japanese presenting, they're probably going to be fine. Oh, I just found something to show. It's kind of creepy. As this feels weird. So y'all know that restaurant Big Boy? Like with the burgers or whatever. Somebody got their hands on a Big Boy and made that out of it. I don't feel, this kind of makes me not feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Is this okay? I mean, I'm not going to make any like specific opinion or calls here, but it's just an eyebrow raiser. Does Japan do Halloween? Sort of. Yeah. The answer to that is kind of. It's become more popular. So when we first came here, it was almost a word. People knew it, but they weren't quite sure what it was. It's become way more ingrained. There's no hitchhiking. There's no hitchhiking for food, hitchhiking for candy. No, trick-or-treating doesn't really exist except in some shopping malls. They will do it, they'll have shopping malls that have it. It has become kind of like a thing for like people in their 20s to just get really, really drunk in Shibuya. So COVID has killed it, but it used to be like every foreigner in the city would go and get drunk with all the younger Japanese people, and it was like a huge block party. And Halloween would be crazy. It was crazy. We made a video about it a few years ago and it was wild then, but it got more wild. The year after we made a video of it, a bunch of drunk people flipped a van over in the street. And it's been, I think, kind of calmed down since COVID, but I expect this year it'll be a thing again. Go walk down to Okinawa for lunch. That's not a bad idea. Why did we move here? That's a long story. I told it earlier in the stream, but essentially we traveled around the world. After we traveled around the world, we didn't have any jobs or anything. My wife randomly applied for jobs, coincidentally got a job in Japan, and we moved here on a whim after having visited here for 5 weeks. So we just moved here on a whim, and we like it, so we stayed. Giant half-white Latino dude, the dude with the missing finger, he'll be fine. His tattoos will put him away from onsen more if he has any. The giant thing at the end of the monorail video is a Buddhist ceremonial thing. Giant thing. I'll have to look back at the video. I can't remember. My memory sucks. Okay. Japan cam. It's been a few minutes, guys. Yeah, it's been a few minutes. Maybe we'll do the giant E-sheep. Just for fun. The movie scene in Japan, that's something I actually don't know a lot about. I don't really watch very many movies at all. Of course, there's like Japan is pretty strong with their like media. There's got a lot of different media like anime, and of course manga is like not movies, but you know, their music scene is pretty vibrant. So Japan has got a lot going on. Movie theaters are still pretty common here. People still go to lots of movies. I don't go very often, personally. There are some art house movie theaters in Tokyo, and they're pretty cool because like they will do like 2 movies for one price. So you can pay like 1,000 yen and see 2 movies, and they'll be themed sometimes. So like, for instance, like recently we went to 2 Wes Anderson movies, like back to back. And they played both of them, so you got to see 2 Wes Anderson movies. And then when Trainspotting 2 came out years ago, they played the first one and then the second one. So you got to watch them back to back. There's a break between so you can go to the bathroom and stuff. But yeah, there's stuff like that. But I couldn't speak about it like deeply. I don't know so much about it. Nunu, the stream, do you see yourself living in Japan in 10 years? Probably, yeah. We bought a house this year. So I don't think we're going anywhere. Like, I mean, you never know what the future holds, but probably, yeah. You know, it's hard to say exactly how things pan out, but we've been here for over 10 years, so everything's good. Homeless isn't prevalent. Compared to a big American city, you're right, but it's not nighttime. I still like to push the button. It's fun. There still is homelessness here. Absolutely. But it is not the same exactly as it is stateside. In regards to the quantity of it, And homeless people tend to kind of stay out of the public view here, unless you know where to look for them. I know that sounds like a weird way to say it, but it's true. So, yes, there's homelessness. Yes, it's a problem. Is it the same as it is in other countries? No, not really. A cool looking little music store. Have we been through any crazy earthquakes? We moved here in 2011, right after that huge earthquake that caused the tsunami and the nuclear disaster. And there were a lot of aftershocks happening at that point, and they were pretty strong. So when we first moved here, there were constantly like these pretty substantial aftershocks. Since then, there have been a couple here and there that have been pretty big, but nothing devastating. Not near us. But I mean, you definitely have had a couple moments where you're like, oh shit. We've definitely had some oh shit moments. But if you look at the earthquake that happened in 2011, like look up videos of it, it's insanity how big it was. Like, talk about like, you think you're gonna die shaking levels for 5 minutes straight. 5 minutes. Like, really, really strong shaking. So, compared to that, we ain't seen nothing. But we have been in moments. It's been kind of like, okay, this is a strong one. Harajuku U style still going? I'm kind of outside of that age group. The only thing I know is observationally when I walk through that area. Sort of, but it's definitely not what it was when we first moved here. It was way more unique and creative looking. It seems like it all sort of just kind of blended into like a kind of like more boring thing. But maybe there's fringes of it that I'm not aware of. But it's not at all what it was 15 years ago, from my perspective. Did you say the U.S. motorcycle license is good in Japan? If you're coming as a tourist and you have a U.S. motorcycle license, you can just get an international permit from AAA in America. It's like really easy. You don't have to take a test or anything. You just have to file some paperwork. And then you can drive here as a tourist. So if you're coming here to live, then it's a little different. You have to convert it and stuff, and it gets more complicated. But if you're just coming as a tourist and you want to ride a motorbike, just get your international permit. And again, it's like $20 or something. And afternoon at AAA, it's simple. And then you're good to go. But you can't, the situation is you can't use an international driver's permit for more than a year if you are a resident of Japan. So after a year, you have to actually convert your license. Been through a couple in Nagasaki. Yeah, it's still pretty freaky. I mean, we're kind of used to them at this point, but I mean, I think if a massive one happened, I'll tell you what, the first one that like rattled us good in our new house was scary. Because like it's how it's new. We're like, well, this is the first earthquake this thing has been through. Is it going to be all right? Do you notice the tourist seasons as a local? Not for the last couple of years. No, because it's been closed. We used to live in a very touristy area called Asakusa, which is where the Sensoji temple is. And yeah, we definitely noticed, I'm thinking about going in this cafe. We definitely noticed the tourist seasons for sure. Because it was, I mean, it's like one of the most touristed areas of the country. Can I go in there and not annoy people talking? I'm going to look at the menu before I... Obster Solo, Oberst Solo. Sorry about the name bumbling there. Hey, what's up? Well, I mean, Japan has not allowed general tourism since COVID started. So is this like, can I just go in here and just like have a soft drink or something? Yeah, I'm not feeling anything. I'm not feeling it. Yeah, so like there literally has been quote unquote no tourism for like 2.5 years. It actually opens tomorrow. Weird coincidence. Harajuku scene was barely there in 2019. Yeah. visiting Europe in the winter, so I'm hoping not to hit the prime tourism months. Yeah, I don't know. I don't worry too much about tourism when we travel. It's just part of the experience. The only time when it starts to suck is if it makes it hard to get hotels or like transporters booked or whatever. I don't mind, like if I go someplace and there's a bunch of tourists and I'm a tourist, how can I be upset about that? Like I'm part of the tourists. But Taiwan reopens on the 13th. Oh, word. Interesting timing. I like these houses. I like the color of this house. It's like grayish black color. How's writing out the pandemic here been? Probably one of the better places to be writing out the pandemic, to be honest with you. Like, there was never any restrictions here. You're supposed to wear a mask. There was like a month where like a bunch of stuff was closed, like the shopping malls were closed, but only because the government requested it, not because it was forced to happen. Like there's never been a lockdown. There's never been any like sort of like quote unquote social control or whatever. None of that stuff ever happened. Looks like they're renovating, tearing down. Sounds like they're speaking Chinese. So yeah, I mean, like the biggest annoyance here, I don't know if that's the right word. The biggest thing here is like masks are still pretty worn. So you're expected to wear masks when you're like indoors or in trains or whatever like that. Which, you know, you can argue one way or the other, but that's a thing. It's a thing that exists. But yeah, there's never been any like. It's been pretty easy to write out the pandemic here. We've been pretty lucky. Something that was kind of annoying, it took a really long time. Japan was really slow on the vaccination uptake. We have a high vaccination rate now, but we were months and months and months behind other countries. That was a little concerning because it just took a really long time, but that's how Japan works. Everything goes a little slow. Heard that Tokyo, just one area, Shibuya on Halloween gets kind of crazy. But it's like fun crazy until somebody tips over a van. But I wouldn't worry about like finding a hotel or anything. It's not that crazy. You're still gonna be able to find places. Winter in the UK is a great time to visit museums. Weekdays, not weekends, yeah, I bet. Feel Japan always kind of, yeah, they do. Yeah, but it wasn't expected to wear a mask. People did wear masks. So there's a difference between people wearing a mask and people expecting people to wear masks. Those are different. Like, I normally wouldn't wear a mask unless I was sick. But now I'm expected to wear a mask regardless. So it's a little bit different than it was pre-pandemic. Got a throat virus, coughing all over and spitting all over. People are still kind of run away if you're... Where are we right now? Just walking around the burbs of Tachikawa. If you type in this command on the chat, that'll throw you. Konnichiwa. She's not very friendly. Little girl's just staring at me. She had death daggers in her eyes, man. Scary. But anyway, yeah, there should be a map link in the thing, and it'll show you where I'm at. In the chat. Japan culture before COVID, I always thought was wear a mask if you're sick. Yep, basically. That's basically accurate. I should look at the map though, because at this point I'm wandering just kind of randomly. But sometimes that's the funnest way to find something you've never seen, right? Is that how it works? It's Tech. Hey, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you hanging out. Oh shit, look at this. Now that's a happy couple. This is kind of a unique vending machine. Like half of it is drinks, and then half of it is potato chips and Kit Kats, and like little like kind of like fake Oreos, and biscuits with butter biscuits, butter. All right, guys, hold on a second here. We got ourselves a technical problem. The receiver for my audio system died. Just the battery on it. So I just gotta think of a way to charge it. And I just basically need a place to put this down to do it. Thanks for letting me know. Check out this guy. This is okay. Yeah, the only problem that we'll have right now is wind. We'll get kind of gnarly. I have a fairly simple solution. It just takes another hand. I don't know if you heard, I was talking about the Japanese Kit Kat. My favorite flavor is wasabi. The wasabi ones were dope. I haven't seen them in a really long time. I don't know if it was limited. Yeah, it's windy right now. That might be a bummer to you guys. I don't have an idea. There's no wind protection on the old phone. Look at birds. It's just like I need slightly more space. Okay. If I'm very careful right now. I don't know if I had the soy sauce ones. Everything is in a perilous situation at the moment. I'm going to put the audio system back in. And if we get a humming sound, please let me know. It is possible that we might get a sound of hum. All right, give me a second. I'm going to plug it back in. We'll see how it goes. If there's a humming sound, holler at me. Any love? Hopefully it's okay. And is it? Can you hear the top? And I'm going to switch my transmitter as well because I know its battery is going to die soon. Sounds good? Cool. There'll be another break in audio. Just a second. Okay, we should be good now. And hopefully it'll juice itself up here and we'll have less cables. Okay. How long have I been streaming? Should be back. I think the power delivery that I have isn't fast enough to run the audio receiver. It's okay. Anyway, what I was trying to say is that the power delivery from my gimbal's battery to the wireless receiver isn't fast enough to power it and charge it. So I think it decharged. But I have it now plugged into my battery bank, which is like a fast, good battery bank. So hopefully it's better now. If it cuts out again, then we'll just go back to just using the mic on the thing. It's not the end of the world. I'm just gonna hop across the road here. So it says there's like no exit here, but I'm just kind of curious what's down here. And quite frankly, if there's a restroom, probably not a restroom in here, but if there is one, all right. So I think we might have some folks in here that are not familiar with Japan. So let's do a little quick explore of this shrine. And I am not an expert about this stuff at all, but I'll show you what we have. So the entrance, this is the road that I was walking on. These cones, by the way, are designed like Mount Fuji. It's cute. So this is the entrance. It's called a tori. And you got these guys here. Koma inu, I think is what they're called. And one will have its mouth open and one will have its mouth closed. Have you noticed any habits or mannerisms? Yeah, probably. But it's hard to notice them when you're inside of it. So this one's got its mouth open, this one has its mouth closed. I don't remember why. There's a reason, but I can't remember why. Katie likes to be like, he just wants to play with the ball. It kind of does look like, come on guys. But anyway, come through the tori and there's some like these lantern things. It's pretty dope. Stone lanterns. And this is like a standard thing. Like this is not noteworthy. It's amazing, don't get me wrong, but it's like there's one of these in like every neighborhood. And traditionally you'll come here and you'll wash your hands. Things are different now because of COVID. Normally, I'm almost positive they built this bamboo system for the COVID situation, because usually you'd have like a little ladle and you would use that to rinse your hands, and then you would pour some of the water into your mouth to purify yourself. And things like this will be lit up at night. It'll look cool. And then another tori, and you can usually see, this one's pretty old, but you'll be able to see like what year or date they were put up. And sometimes these will be gifted by a local person or local government, and they will end up writing the person who donated for it or whatever. Sometimes they're made of wood. This one is made of concrete. So this says Showa 15. I have no idea what that is to turn that into into Western date. Somebody might be able to Google it. And then it was November 10th that they put it in its place. So whatever Showa 15 was. Can somebody translate that somehow? The Japanese dating system is different than the Western dating system, and I can't do the math for it. And then this is the shrine itself. And a couple of more Koma Inu. And that might not be the right name for those things. That's just what I think in my head. And then inside the shrine, so this will be like a Shinto structure, as opposed to Japan also has a lot of Buddhist temples, but this will be like a Shinto structure. And the specific one is called Kumano Jinja. It's like bare field shrine. And inside of it will be a enshrined god. And when people come up to this, they will basically do an action of like clapping, or sometimes there's a bell, and you ring a bell or whatever. There's just like this different sequence of things that you do to awaken the spirit. And then you put money in this little box and then pray. And that's basically the purpose of it in that sense. But it's also like kind of like a community spot. They'll have like festivals and stuff. See how they have this open area over here? Like festivals can happen and community gatherings can happen here and stuff like that. And you can also buy these things. They're called Emma. Okay, good. I got the right name. Komainu. So these are like, people can like buy these and like write a wish on them and hang them up. It's not always a wish. It can just be like, sometimes it's like, going to do better on my test, or I hope for health for my family, or different things. And sometimes the type of wish you'll write on these is different depending on the shrine that you're at, depending on the meaning or whatever like that. This is the art on this one is celebrating Shichigo-san, which is you bring your child when they're 3, 5, and 7 years old, and you dress them up in these super cute uniforms, outfits, like classical Japanese looking, like yukata or kimono or something like this, and they come and they visit the shrine. And usually the parents are pretty dressed up too, like dressed up dapper. Dad usually wears like a nice looking suit. Sometimes mom will be in a nice dress, but sometimes she'll also wear a kimono or something. And they come and have like nice photos taken and stuff. It's like a marker for age as kids get older. And I think we've hit the end of the knowledge that I have of what's going on. Did somebody forget 1940? Okay, word. Thanks for the... Can you go inside? No, not this one. Not right now, especially. People who are like parts of this community are allowed to go in, and there will be like prayer going on sometimes with like a monk. It's not a monk exactly. There will be prayers with the guy that runs the place, kind of like so yes, sometimes you can go inside of them. Most of the time, I think when you go, people like have more public access to temples, but it depends on the building. Most people, when they come here, they just pray here and that's it. But there are functions that you can have to go inside. They probably sell like fortunes type things here. And if you have, I believe if you have a bad fortune, then you tie it to this, and it's like supposed to help the bad fortune go away. I'm going over here to see if I can find a restroom. Sometimes with these little parks, you can find a restroom. Shinto priest, yeah, is that the right word? Yeah, that sounds right? So if you were with me earlier, I was talking about how being like molesters is kind of a problem in Japan. That's what the sign is saying. It's like, be careful of molesters. I have to clear my throat. Hold on a second, I'm gonna mute the mic. Okay, audio should be back. I just had to cough. Didn't want to gnarl up all over you guys. I wonder why. I wonder why someone would clap their hands before praying and before eating. I guess they kind of do, like clap once, itadakimasu. I don't know what the deal with that is. I don't know. I've never thought about it. So I am going to get to use the restroom, it looks like. Probably a bathroom? Okay, yes. Okay, it smells terrible. All right, hold on a minute. I'm going to put you guys down and get some relief. Make sure the camera is not pointing at me. I'll give you a better view than the back of the thing though. How about that? Is that a good view? Now's your opportunity to talk shit about me. Be right back. Audio should be back. Let me do some quick housekeeping. And can I stand without turning everything upside down? Yay, I did it. All right, we're back. What's going on? Wood? Want to jump on the playground equipment? Shit to my clap at mealtime. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. I don't know what the tradition is there. Yeah, this is not. Usually, I like to play on some playground equipment a bit too, but I don't think anything here is pumping my nads, y'all. Look at this. We just got like the. It's a little bit wet down up in there. So, if anybody's curious, so far this stream has been 13 gigabytes of data. It's crazy. All right. What I'm going to do is kind of start drifting home. because I'm actually kind of getting tired, but I'm going to hit a vending machine at some point. I need something to drink. So just a second to dial up a route. Got a 45-minute walk if I just go. So what that means is it'll take me 3 hours. I think I'll run out of battery before that happens. But we'll see. We only have 16 gigs a month. Yeah, this is unlimited. So, but this is the data. This data is not cheap. Yeah, I'm pushing it's 1080p off my phone. Ooh, it wants me to go the other way. 1080p 30 frames a second is what this is pushing. It's supposed to push about 6 megs a second, but sometimes it dips down, sometimes it dips up. It's variable, so it depends. Looks like I missed some of the people that came in. Somehow I have goofed on that. Sorry if my app can be not wonderful. If you guys are still here, Warp TP, thanks for the follow. Curse TVC, thanks for the follow, and Yogui Nodoguma. No dogma. There we go. That's the word. No dogma. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate everybody hanging out. All right, so the current quest is a vending machine. Oh, it's so quiet. I just want to whisper. I don't want to bother anybody. Crusty Cornholio. Are you the great Cornholio, or are you the crusty Cornholio? Thanks for the follow. I didn't realize there were different flavors of Cornholios. I thought there was only the great, but I guess it makes sense. If there's the great, there must be the crusty. Actually, the weather is really nice. Like, it's not... Oh, shit. Almost got taken down. This is like, to me, this is the perfect weather. Like, you gotta have like you gotta have long sleeves on, but not heavy long sleeves. And it's not raining right now. And there's not sun blaring down on you. And it's not windy. I know it's a little dreary looking, but for the compromises you get, the good out of the cloudiness, this is like, to me, this is beauteous. I love it. I have 12 gigs of data plus endless social media. Endless social media, that's interesting. So you have endless access to like Facebook and Twitter and stuff? Like they see that data is different? You could stream 30 to 100 gigs on Facebook. Huh, interesting. Side quest, a beer. You know what would be interesting about that? I've never had a beer in my life. I've never had a beer. I've never tasted beer. I've smelled it, but I've never actually tasted it. So that would be a hell of a side quest for me. Yeah, interesting. The endless social media. That's kind of an interesting. I've never heard of that. Yeah, this data plan is pretty expensive though. Like, it's like I have 2 data plans. Right now I'm only using one of them though. It's like 7,000 or 8,000 yen a month. But it's endless and it's like top tier service. Lots of good beer in Japan. Yeah, that's what people say. I've never had one though. What's my preferred drink? I don't drink alcohol very. Okay, so like, hold on. This is not the most interesting part of Japan. So let's do this. Yeah, I don't drink alcohol that much. I do, but I didn't drink until I was 30, and for no real reason. Like, I just didn't. I mean, it wasn't. I'm not like religious or anything like that. It's not like I just didn't drink. A lot of my friends, when back in America, are Mormon. So like I just hang out with all these Mormons. So like it was just like, okay, we're not drinking. Like it's just not what we do. So anyway, when I moved to Japan, like it's hard to avoid drinking when you move here. So I started drinking like umeshu and stuff like that. And I have wine with Katie now and then. I had a glass of wine last night with dinner. But I'm just not a big drinker. I don't really like what alcohol feels like all that much, especially afterwards. So I've never been like drunk in my life, but I've been pretty tipsy. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a preferred drink exactly. I like the taste of some wines. When we were in Italy, drank quite a bit of wine with pizza all the time. Like we have pizza every day because you're in Italy. I mean, of course. And then you get like a plastic bottle of wine from a local wine dispensary type place. That kind of thing to me that's the best thing that I've ever done with alcohol before. But part of it's the experience. I grew up with a bunch of Mormons too, actually. Oh, word. I didn't grow up with Mormons, but like when I was like in high school, I started a band with a friend of mine, and he's Mormon. And then like once you meet one Mormon, you're just like in the club. Like, you have one Mormon friend, and all of a sudden you have 30. So it's just like a lot of the people that were in my social circle were Mormon. And I mean, I was in a punk band with 2 Mormon guys for like 10 years. And yeah, I mean, they're great people. I mean, they're, you know, I think some people don't know, like, I think Mormon, they're like, oh, the people that knock on your door, and like, these are just my bros. This wasn't like some weird thing or anything like that. It's just people. I grew up with Jehovah's Witnesses, so I didn't drink at all until later. We've all had very similar situations. Yeah, and I just kind of don't like to drink much. I'm adopted, so I don't know my family. I don't know my parents, like my biological parents. I have no information at all. And like sometimes I worry about like, you know how some people say that it's like hereditary, that you can be like susceptible to alcoholism and stuff. To me, that's like a big roll of the dice. It kind of worries me. Like, probably okay, but what if not? All right, I don't know if you guys can see, but Sweden is just like right there. I think I just need to get some water. I'm feeling parched. This is the one part about streaming with a phone. Run to or from IKEA? Are you an IKEA hater or an IKEA fan? All right. They didn't like my 100 yen. Gave me back, what? What? Please? I think this machine has got some problems. Let me see if I have another. I do not have another coin. Okay. But the good news is I just gained 10 yen. Because I just put 20 in. And it just gave me 30 back. I don't know what the hell's going on. All right. Okay, we're gonna move on. I won a award for best director for this scene that we just filmed. What did I miss? Wet the coin edge with spit and then insert? That sounds too sexy for me. Okay. All right, we're going this way. Flat pack, shutter, go, run away. Okay, word. Boss coffee. I mean, it's fine, I guess. I don't know. All these years watching your videos, just learned you were adopted. Oh, for real? Yeah, I guess we don't. I mean, when does it come up? You know what I mean? Like, oh, here's like this. Here's this katsudon. By the way, I'm adopted. Where does it come from? You have to spit directly on the slot and then enter the coin. Yo, this is getting not safe for work. I can't do this. We're just gonna find a different machine. Maybe I have to insert kroners. Is everybody in the chat adopted? Is there something about this specific stream that everybody? Do you have to be adopted to click here? Was there a box, a dialogue box? Were you adopted? No. Can't watch. But yeah, it's not like, the thing about it is like, I mean, clearly being adopted when I was a child was like one of the most impactful moments of my life. But it happened before I was like online, like mentally. So it just doesn't mean anything to me mentally. It's weird, right? Like I was like 2 days old. So to me, it's just been like a normal life otherwise. Other than the fact that I'm dramatically taller than my parents. Dramatically taller. My parents are very short. My mom was adopted and I did 23andMe and found some lost biological family. I've considered it. I think about it sometimes. They don't ship 23andMe, or last time I checked, it's been years. They don't ship them to Japan. So maybe they do now. I don't know. Again, I haven't looked in a while. So that was last time I thought about it, which was years ago. That's what stopped me from doing it. I'm a little worried about being on the grid. I'm like really off the grid right now. Like in the terms of like a biological sense. I mean, you hear about like people like they didn't take a 23andMe, but their cousin did, and now like they commit a crime and like they can get caught because they're genetically on the grid because of something a cousin did or whatever. But since I have no connection back to my biological family, I'm like completely off the grid. So if I ever commit a crime, I'm good to go. So you know what I'm saying? I'm also a little concerned about like doing it and then like, you know, like what are you, that's a wild card. Like I could find out that like my biological family is a bunch of dicks. You know what I mean? Like you don't know anything. So like, what if you find out that, and I've said this before, and this is dark. This is dark. So if you don't want dark, tune out now. But like you could be like, you could find out that you're a product of a violent crime. You can paint the picture of yourself of what that means, but like you could find out some pretty bad shit about yourself. I don't know, that's pretty heavy, you know? So anyways, it's a pretty big thing, and I think it's different for the person who is adopted, I think, than like a son or a daughter or a child or whatever of the adopted person. I think there's more weight on the adopted person. If you do a crime and have done DNA taken and it's matched existing records, yeah, exactly. It doesn't make me any less. I didn't say it did, but it's still like it doesn't make, I agree with you that it doesn't, but there's a big difference between like knowing that and feeling that. Does that make sense? Like, and I've never been in the situation where I thought that I was the product of something like that. I've always been in this blissful, like, oh, I mean, clearly I was not a wanted baby, clearly, but to what degree? So I don't know if I have the guts to open that box, because that's a pretty heavy box. So anyway, a lot of people are like, oh, it'd be fun to find out. It might not be. It might suck. And you can't close that box. Like once you've opened it and you have that knowledge, it's not like you can unhave it. So I mean, I don't know. I might do it at some point. I also find it could be kind of socially awkward. Like, I have my parents, like the people who adopted me. Those are my parents, right? And it just seems like, I don't know. It feels weird to be like, I wanted to find these other people. I don't know. There's just a social aspect of it that sort of just it's a little weird. I don't know. It's not a normal social situation. Like, here's my parents and here's also my parents. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, if nothing else, they're tall. That's one thing we know. And it's just like more like, I don't know, family, you know, like, do you need more? All right. Are we going to score some? Oh, shit. This is what we're going to get. This stuff is the bomb. Katie found this stuff recently. And I can set this all down while I figure this out. And if you guys are fortunate, you might get some booty in the cam. Will it take the 100 yen coin? Seems like it.